The observers. Intelligence Officer Nix stood before the Alarian Collective Strategic Council, her slender form dwarfed by the massive crystalline chamber that housed the seven most powerful beings in their civilization. Her silver-gray skin reflected the ambient light as she maintained perfect posture, a necessity when addressing those who commanded fleets capable of reducing planets to ash. Distinguished counselors, she began, her voice clear and unwavering. The reconnaissance probes have returned data on the blue planet designated Sol 3, locally known as Earth. The inhabitants call themselves humans. High Counselor Zarek leaned forward, his scaled crest shifting to a shade of dismissive blue. And your assessment, Officer Nix. The species appears technologically limited. They've achieved rudimentary space travel, but remain confined to their immediate system. Their global network relies on primitive electromagnetic signals, and their most advanced weapons utilize chemical propellants and limited nuclear fission. A ripple of amusement passed through the council. Admiral Krell, commander of the Valerian 7th Fleet, didn't bother concealing his derision. Another backwater world, then, hardly worth our attention. Nix hesitated. There are inconsistencies in the data, Admiral. Explain, Zarek commanded. Our long-range sensors detected energy signatures that don't match their apparent technological level. Several times, our probes experienced temporary system fluctuations when passing certain orbital paths. And there's something else. Their communications patterns suggest they're aware of life beyond their world, yet they make no attempt at interstellar contact. Admiral Krell waved a dismissive hand. Primitive paranoia. Many developing species go through a phase of cosmic isolation. The energy anomalies are likely natural phenomena your sensors misinterpreted. With respect, Admiral, I recommend a closer investigation. Something about Earth doesn't align with our understanding of developing civilizations. The council chamber fell silent until Counselor Varin, renowned for her cautious approach to expansion, spoke. Perhaps a preliminary reconnaissance would be prudent, not a full contact mission but observation. Krell's crest flared red, a waste of resources. Or a necessary precaution, Nix countered. The collective's expansion has never suffered setbacks precisely because we don't underestimate potential threats. Hours later, Nix found herself appointed mission commander of the Whisper, the collective's most advanced stealth vessel. As she stood in the ship's observation deck watching her crew prepare for departure, her second-in-command approached. Commander Voss reporting as ordered, he said, his military bearing impeccable. Unlike most Alarians, Voss had spent decades studying other species, his fascination with xenoanthropology making him both valuable and somewhat distrusted among the military elite. The crew is assembled, Nix asked, not turning from the viewport. Yes, Commander, 12 specialists, including Dr. Tella for biological analysis and Engineer Reese for technological assessment. May I speak freely? Nix nodded. The Council doesn't believe there's anything worth finding. This mission is political theater, a concession to your persistence rather than a genuine reconnaissance effort. I'm aware, Nix replied. But something about Earth troubles me, Voss. The data doesn't fit the narrative of a simple developing world. Voss studied her profile. You've always had exceptional instincts. If you believe Earth warrants investigation, that's enough for me. The Whisper departed without ceremony, its quantum drive engaging once clear of the Alarian homeworld's gravity well. Unlike conventional warships, the Whisper was designed for absolute stealth. Its hull absorbed rather than reflected energy, its systems generated minimal heat, and its propulsion left no traceable ion trail. For all practical purposes, the ship did not exist to standard detection methods. 7 Earth days later, the Whisper took position in high orbit around the blue planet, its advanced cloaking technology rendering it invisible to what the crew assumed were primitive human tracking systems. Initiating comprehensive scan, Engineer Reese announced from his station. Deploying passive receivers to monitor communications, activating biosphere analysis. Nix watched the main view screen as Earth rotated slowly below them. Blue oceans, green and brown landmasses, white cloud formations, and the scattered lights of human cities visible on the night side. Beautiful in its way, Voss commented, standing beside her, though apparently unremarkable. Initial scans confirm previous data, Reese reported. Technology level consistent with early space exploration phase. Nuclear fission energy, limited fusion research, chemical propellants for weapons and spacecraft, Nothing that poses any threat to the collective. Dr. Tella, the xenobiologist, looked up from her console. Their genetic diversity is fascinating. They've evolved with remarkable adaptability. Their biology suggests they're incredibly resilient, capable of surviving in diverse environments and recovering from significant trauma. A species that's good at surviving, Nix mused. That's worth noting. For the first rotation, everything proceeded according to protocol. The crew gathered data, monitored communications, and mapped Earth's infrastructure, but during the second rotation, anomalies began appearing. "Commander," Reese called, his voice tense. "I'm detecting intermittent energy fluctuations in our sensor array." Nix frowned, a source. "Unknown, it's as if," he paused, recalibrating his instruments. "It's as if something is scanning us, but that's impossible. Our absorption field should prevent any reflection of scanning beams." "Could it be natural interference?" "Possibly, but the pattern seems too regular." Voss joined them at the engineering station. "What about their satellites? Could one of them be emitting energy that's interfering with our systems?" "Their satellites are primitive imaging and communication platforms," Reese replied. "Nothing capable of penetrating our cloaking technology." As the hours passed, more unexplained phenomena accumulated. Their communications monitoring revealed strange gaps in human transmissions, periods where certain military frequencies went completely silent for precisely 7 seconds before resuming. Several times, the Whisper's navigation system detected minute changes in local spatial geometry that defied explanation. On the third day, Dr. Tella made a discovery that sent a ripple of unease through the crew. "Commander, you need to see this," she said, transferring data to the main view screen. "I've been analyzing atmospheric composition above major human population centers, and I've detected trace elements that don't belong in their industrial profile." "Meanings?" "There are molecular structures consistent with advanced propulsion systems, the kind we use in our scout ships. And here," she highlighted an area over what humans called the Pacific Ocean, "periodic radiation signatures that could indicate energy shielding." Nix's expression darkened. "They shouldn't have that technology." "They shouldn't," Tella agreed, "but either they do or someone else is operating on their planet." The situation deteriorated further when Voss identified unusual structures in Earth's oceans. Massive objects that human maps identified as natural formations, but whose geometric properties suggested artificial construction. Deep under the Antarctic ice, thermal imaging revealed heat sources that couldn't be explained by geothermal activity. On the fifth day, while passing over a region humans called Siberia, the Whisper's system suddenly flickered. Just for a moment, screens dimming, gravity wavering before returning to normal. "Report," Nix demanded. Engineer Reese worked frantically at his console. "We experienced a power fluctuation across all systems, cause unknown." "Run diagnostics." "Already in progress, Commander. I'm detecting an unusual signature in our main computer. It appears to be," he stopped, his expression one of disbelief. "It appears to be a data packet, but that's impossible. Nothing could penetrate our—" "On screen," Nix ordered. The main view screen changed, displaying a simple text message in perfect Alarian script. "To the Alarian vessel currently in Earth orbit, your presence has been noted. This is your first warning." Silence engulfed the bridge. Nix felt her scales tighten against her body, an instinctive response to threat. "How is this possible?" Voss whispered. "They shouldn't even know we're here, let alone be able to identify us as Alarian." Before anyone could respond, the ship's external sensors triggered an alert. On the view screen, a section of Earth's moon, previously appearing as barren terrain, seemed to shimmer and then transform. Where there had been only gray dust and rock, a massive structure now stood revealed, its design unlike anything in Alarian records. "Tactical analysis," Nix ordered, her voice steady despite her shock. Reese worked his console. "The structure appears to be some kind of monitoring station. It's heavily shielded. I'm detecting energy readings consistent with—" "Commander, these readings suggest technology at least equal to our own, possibly more advanced." The message on their screen changed. "Your scanning activities have been detected and are considered intrusive. Earth is a protected system. You have one planetary rotation to depart or face consequences." Nix turned to Voss. "Prepare a complete data package for transmission to the collective, priority level critical." Commander Reese interrupted, his voice strained. Something's happening. The view screen shifted to show Earth's orbit. All around the planet, what had appeared to be debris, defunct satellites, and asteroids were changing, transforming as their camouflage fell away to reveal sophisticated defense platforms. Dozens, then hundreds of them, forming a web around the planet. They've been watching us watch them, Voss realized aloud, this entire time. A new transmission appeared, this time with visual accompaniment. A human female appeared on screen, her bearing military, her eyes projecting authority and calm certainty. "I am Director Hayes of Earth Defense," she said in flawless Alarian, shocking the crew into silence. "Your species designation is known to us. Your technological capabilities have been assessed. Your intentions remain unclear, but your methods, unauthorized surveillance, are hostile by definition." Nix stepped forward. "This is Commander Nix of the Alarian Collective. Our mission is reconnaissance only. We mean no harm to your world." Director Hayes's expression remained unchanged. "Your collective has a policy of assessing and then, if deemed beneficial, annexing developing worlds. Earth is not available for annexation, Commander Nix. Nor are we as primitive as your preliminary scans suggested." As if to emphasize her point, the view screen split to show something emerging from Earth's ocean, a massive vessel rising from the depths, water cascading from its gleaming hull. Its design was elegant yet formidable, with no visible propulsion system yet moving with precision that suggested advanced gravitational control. "This is merely one element of our defense network," Hayes continued. "The first layer, if you will, we've maintained the appearance of technological limitation by choice, not necessity." Nix found herself speechless, a rare occurrence for an intelligence officer trained to handle unexpected scenarios. Voss spoke instead. "How long have you known about the wider galaxy?" A hint of something, perhaps amusement, crossed Hayes's face. "Longer than your collective has existed, Commander Voss. Earth has chosen isolation not from ignorance but strategy. We've observed galactic politics for centuries, learning, adapting, preparing." "Preparing for what?" Nix asked. "For this moment, the inevitable day when someone would decide Earth was worth claiming." Hayes leaned forward slightly. "Your Whisper-class vessel is impressive. We have 12 similar designs, though ours don't require the quantum flux stabilizers your engineer Reese is currently trying to protect from our scanning." Reese looked up from his console in shock. "You have a choice," Hayes continued. "Return to your council with what you've learned, or attempt further incursion and witness capabilities we would prefer to keep private." The transmission ended, leaving the Whisper's crew in stunned silence. "Orders, Commander," Voss asked quietly. Nix stared at the Earth below them, seeing it with new eyes, not as a primitive world ripe for exploration, but as something far more dangerous. A civilization that had mastered the art of deception on a planetary scale. "Prepare for departure," she said finally. "The Council needs to know what we're dealing with." As the Whisper broke orbit, its sensors detected dozens of Earth vessels emerging from hidden locations throughout the solar system. Ships that had been there all along, watching, waiting, their presence concealed by technology the Alarians had never encountered. Earth wasn't helpless, it was patient. And the galaxy had just awakened something that had been preparing for this moment for generations. The confrontation. The Alarian High Council chamber pulsed with agitated energy as Intelligence Officer Nix concluded her report. The crystalline walls, normally a serene blue, reflected the councilor's mood, shifting between alarming crimson and uncertain amber. "Preposterous," Admiral Krell declared, his scales bristling. "A primitive species does not simply leap centuries of technological development in secret. Your sensors were compromised, or worse, you were deceived by hallucinations." Nix stood her ground. "The evidence is conclusive, Admiral. The humans possess technology that rivals or exceeds our own, concealed beneath a carefully constructed facade of limitation." High Counselor Zarek studied the holographic projections hovering above the central dais, images captured by the Whisper of Earth's hidden defense network. "If what you're reporting is accurate, this changes our entire strategic approach to the Sol system." "With respect, Counselor," General Thora interjected, her imposing frame dominating the space as she stepped forward. The veteran of 17 planetary subjugations wore her battle scars visibly, a rarity among Alarians who typically opted for regenerative procedures. "One reconnaissance vessel encountering unexpected resistance hardly constitutes a threat to the collective. Perhaps these humans have salvaged technology from other spacefaring races or discovered ancient artifacts. They cannot possibly have developed such capabilities independently. Nix exchanged glances with Commander Voss, who stood quietly beside her. They both recognized the dangerous hubris in General Thora's assessment. The humans directly addressed our crew by name and function, Nix countered. They identified our vessel class and specific technical components that are classified within our own military. This suggests intelligence capabilities far beyond salvage technology. Admiral Krell's crest flattened, a sign of mounting aggression. Then we face a simple choice. If Earth possesses such technology, it represents either a potential ally or a future threat. Given their deception and isolation, I suggest the latter is more likely. The chamber fell silent as Counselor Varin rose from her seat, her ancient eyes scanning each face before speaking. We have encountered 37 species in our expansion. None have hidden their true capabilities so effectively. This suggests patience and strategy beyond what we typically observe. Before we determine our approach, I recommend further assessment. General Thora's scales rippled with barely contained eagerness. I volunteer to lead a proper evaluation force. Not a single reconnaissance vessel, but a battle group capable of testing these alleged defenses. Only then can we verify Officer Nix's claims. Counselor Zarek nodded slowly. Approved. General Thora will command the 6th Battle Group to Sol 3. You will assess their capabilities, determine the extent of their technology, and report back. This is not, he emphasized with a piercing gaze, an invasion, not yet. As the council adjourned, Commander Voss caught up with Nix in the corridor outside. They're making a catastrophic mistake, he said quietly. Sending a battle group isn't assessment, it's provocation. Nix's silver-gray skin darkened with concern. General Thora has never conducted a simple assessment in her career. She destroys potential threats before they can prove dangerous. And the council knows this. Of course they do, they're simply maintaining political deniability. Nix paused, watching Thora stride confidently toward the military wing of the complex. I've requested assignment to the mission. Voss's eyes widened. She'll never accept you. She already has. The council ordered it. They want someone skeptical of human capabilities to balance Thora's aggression. And me. Nix allowed a rare smile. I insisted on bringing the collective's foremost xenoanthropologist. We depart in 3 cycles. 14 days later, the Alarian 6th Battle Group emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Sol system. Unlike the stealthy approach of the Whisper, this arrival announced itself with deliberate visibility, a show of force meant to impress and intimidate. The battle group consisted of 12 warships, the dreadnought Immutable Truth under General Thora's direct command, 3 heavy cruisers, 5 destroyers, and 3 specialized assault carriers housing 500 elite Alarian shock troops. It was a force capable of subjugating most developing worlds within days. On the bridge of the Immutable Truth, General Thora observed the tactical display with satisfaction. Deploy in Dominance Formation Delta. Begin comprehensive scanning of the system, prioritizing Earth and its moon. As officers carried out her commands, Nix and Voss exchanged troubled glances from their observer stations at the rear of the bridge. This formation is designed for orbital bombardment, Voss whispered, not assessment. Nix nodded almost imperceptibly. The council will claim ignorance when this escalates. Lieutenant Meridian, the tactical officer, looked up from his station with confusion. General, I'm detecting no defensive posture from Earth. Their satellites remain in standard orbits. No weapon systems appear active. Thora's crest shifted to a confident azure. As expected, Officer Nix's encounter was an anomaly, perhaps a single advanced outpost or salvage defense system. Begin approach to high orbit. As the battle group advanced toward Earth, the initial scans revealed exactly what historical data had suggested. A technically developing world with primitive satellites, a small space station, and unremarkable defense capabilities. No sign of the defense network described in the Whisper's report, Lieutenant Meridian announced. General Thora turned to Nix, her expression smug. It seems your encounter was exaggerated, intelligence officer. Perhaps your crew experienced some form of collective delusion. Nix remained composed. I stand by our report, General. I recommend extreme caution. Noted, Thora replied dismissively before turning to her communications officer. Establish broadcast on all frequencies used by Earth. I wish to address their leaders. Moments later, Thora's voice boomed across Earth's communication systems in the humans' dominant languages. Attention, leaders of Earth. I am General Thora of the Alarian Collective. Our civilization spans 117 star systems. We have come to evaluate your world for potential integration into our domain. Resistance is inadvisable. We await your response. The bridge fell silent as they waited. For 30 seconds, no reply came. Then, without warning, every screen on the immutable truth went dark. The ship's ambient lighting flickered, and the low hum of its quantum drive faltered momentarily before stabilizing. Report, Thora demanded. Lieutenant Meridian worked frantically at his console. Some kind of electromagnetic pulse, but directed specifically at our systems. Minimal damage, but he stopped suddenly, staring at his readouts. Continue, Lieutenant, Thora growled. General, I'm detecting energy signatures all around us. They weren't there a moment ago. The main view screen reactivated, but instead of showing Earth, it displayed a human male with dark skin, silver hair, and eyes that conveyed both wisdom and absolute authority. General Thora, he spoke in flawless Alarian. I am Director Harrington of Earth's Unified Defense Command. Your approach formation, weapons readiness, and communication suggest hostile intent rather than peaceful assessment. Thora's scales bristled. How dare you interpret our intentions, the Alarian Collective? Has subjugated 17 inhabited worlds in the last 60 years, Harrington interrupted calmly. Your tactical approach is consistent with previous conquest operations, particularly those led by you personally on Vega Prime and Novalis. The bridge crew shifted uncomfortably. The humans' knowledge of classified Alarian military operations was troubling. Thora recovered quickly. Your information, however obtained, changes nothing. We require an evaluation of your technological capabilities and societal structure to determine your status within the galactic community. Director Harrington's expression remained impassive. We have already evaluated yours, General, and found it wanting. Earth has maintained isolation by choice, not necessity. We will provide a demonstration. The view screen split to show the space around the Alarian battle group. What had moments before appeared as empty void now shimmered as camouflage fields deactivated, revealing hundreds of orbital platforms surrounding the Alarian ships in a perfect containment sphere. Lieutenant Meridian's voice trembled slightly. General, we're completely encircled. Those platforms, they weren't detectable until now. Their energy signatures suggest weapons capabilities exceeding our own. Before Thora could respond, a new alert sounded. From Earth's surface, objects were rising, hundreds of them, launching from oceans, mountain ranges, and what had appeared to be civilian installations. Each was approximately 1/4 the size of an Alarian destroyer but moved with unnatural precision, forming a secondary containment layer around the battle group. How is this possible? Thora whispered, her confidence visibly shaken. Our scans showed nothing. From his observer station, Voss spoke up. Because they wanted us to see nothing, General, this confirms everything we reported. Director Harrington's voice drew their attention back to the view screen. Your ships are now within our defensive grid. As a courtesy, we're transmitting technical specifications of the containment system so you understand your situation. Data streamed across secondary screens, showing weapons capabilities that made several officers physically recoil. This is merely our orbital defense network, Harrington continued. The first layer of Earth's protection. We have maintained the appearance of technological limitation as a strategic choice while observing galactic development for centuries. General Thora's scales flattened against her body, a sign of intense stress. Impossible, no species develops in isolation to this degree. Not isolation, General, careful observation. Your collective isn't the first advanced civilization to discover Earth, merely the most recent to underestimate it. As if to emphasize the point, the lunar surface that faced Earth suddenly transformed. Vast sections of what had appeared as barren regolith reconfigured, revealing massive structures and launch bays. From these opened facilities, larger vessels emerged, dreadnoughts that dwarfed even the immutable truth. Those ships, Lieutenant Meridian reported shakily, their design suggests capabilities we've only theorized. Gravitational manipulation engines, energy shielding beyond our defensive calculations, and weapons systems I cannot even classify. Nick stepped forward to stand beside General Thora. Director Harrington, I am Intelligence Officer Nix from the reconnaissance mission. May I ask how long Earth has maintained this level of technology? Harrington's expression softened slightly. Your conduct during first contact was respectful, Officer Nix. In answer to your question, Earth began its Silent Sentinel program over 3 centuries ago after our first encounters with hostile extraterrestrial forces. Rather than announce ourselves to the galaxy, we chose to watch, learn, and prepare. 3 centuries, Voss breathed. That predates the formation of the collective itself. Precisely, Harrington nodded. We've observed 17 major galactic powers rise and fall during our vigil. The Alarian collective is merely the most recent to expand in this sector. General Thora had recovered enough to find her voice. If what you claim is true, why reveal yourselves now? Why not maintain your deception? Because your arrival presented a choice, continue hiding or demonstrate that Earth is not available for conquest. We chose the latter. Harrington leaned forward slightly. Additionally, this demonstration serves a broader purpose. At that moment, Lieutenant Meridian called out in alarm. General, our long-range communications are being accessed. Something is broadcasting from our ships. On screens throughout the Alarian battle group, and unknown to them on communication channels across the galaxy, a signal was transmitting. It showed the Alarian vessels surrounded by Earth's defense network, with technical specifications and capabilities clearly displayed. What you're witnessing, Harrington's voice explained to the galactic audience, is not an act of aggression by Earth, but a demonstration of defensive capability. For too long, developing worlds have been seen as resources to be exploited. Earth stands as proof that appearances can be deceiving and that the policy of conquest should be reconsidered. General Thora's scales had gone pale, almost white. You're using us as an example. A necessary one, Harrington confirmed. Your battle group will be permitted to return to Alarian space unharmed, carrying knowledge that will hopefully inspire more diplomatic approaches in the future. As if responding to an unseen command, the Earth vessels began rearranging, opening a clear corridor back to the edge of the solar system, a path for retreat that nonetheless kept the Alarian ships within targeting range. In the tense silence that followed, Nix moved closer to General Thora. Your orders, General, she asked quietly. Thora's eyes remained fixed on the massive Earth dreadnoughts that loomed in the view screen. For perhaps the first time in her distinguished military career, she faced an opponent that outmatched her forces so completely that combat was unthinkable. Signal retreat, she finally ordered, her voice barely audible. Maintain dignified withdrawal formation, no aggressive movements. As the Alarian ships began their careful retreat, Director Harrington spoke one final time. The Alarian collective is welcome to establish diplomatic relations with Earth when you're ready to approach as equals rather than conquerors. Until then, we will continue our observation. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in silence, broken only by the subdued operation of ship systems. Commander Voss approached Nix as they watched Earth shrink in the view screen. This changes everything, he said quietly, not just for the collective but for galactic politics as a whole. Nix nodded. Earth has been playing a different game entirely. While civilizations fought for territory and resources, they built in secret, watching and learning. The Silent Sentinels, Voss mused, an entire planet that chose patience over expansion. From her command chair, General Thora overheard their conversation. Her earlier arrogance had vanished, replaced by a thoughtful solemnity that her officers had rarely witnessed. Intelligence Officer Nix, she called. Your initial assessment was correct. I dismissed it out of hubris. Nix approached respectfully. Many would have made the same judgment, General. Perhaps, but few would have encountered what we did today. Thora gazed at the tactical display showing their retreat path. In 3 centuries of space exploration, the collective has cataloged thousands of worlds, some primitive, others advanced, but never have we encountered one that hid its true nature so effectively or for so long. The question now, Voss interjected, is why? Why develop such technology only to hide it? Why not join the galactic community and share their advancements? Thora's expression darkened. Because they've been watching us, Commander, all of us, the collective, the Dravian hegemony, the Zalari Commonwealth. They've seen how we operate, how we treat developing worlds, and they chose to prepare rather than participate. As the Alarian battle group cleared the outer boundary of the Sol system, communication systems throughout the fleet suddenly activated once more. Not with a transmission from Earth, but with data, vast archives of information about dozens of worlds the collective had designated for future assessment. Lieutenant Meridian reviewed the incoming data with growing disbelief. General, these files, they contain detailed reports on indigenous species we haven't even properly cataloged yet. Civilizations in early development phases across 17 star systems in our expansion pathway. Earth has been monitoring these worlds, Nix realized, protecting them without their knowledge. General Thora stared at the star chart now displayed on the main view screen, showing the locations of Earth's hidden monitoring stations scattered throughout space claimed by the collective and beyond. The implications were staggering. Earth's influence extended far beyond its own system. "We're not retreating from a single defended world," Thora said quietly. "We're retreating from an unseen guardian that's been one step ahead of us for centuries." As the ships prepared for the jump to faster-than-light travel, Voss studied the final data packet transmitted from Earth. Unlike the others, this one contained a simple message. "The galaxy is watching now. Choose your next steps carefully." On the hundreds of worlds that had received Earth's broadcast, leaders of various species, some known to the collective, others hidden like Earth, had been viewed the demonstration with newfound hope. For the first time, a world had successfully stood against expansion by pure strength of preparation and patience. Back on Earth, in the deep underground command center known as Sanctuary 1, Director Harrington stood before a wall of screens showing the retreating Alarian fleet. Beside him, his senior staff waited silently for his assessment. "Phase 1 complete," he finally said. "The Silent Sentinel program has served its purpose. After 300 years, Earth is no longer hidden." Admiral Juno, his second-in-command, approached with a data tablet. "The Galactic response is already coming in. 27 civilizations have requested diplomatic contact, including 3 we didn't know existed." Harrington nodded slowly. "And so begins the next chapter, not as conquerors, not as victims, but as guardians." He turned to face the assembled staff. "For generations, we prepared for this moment, the day when humanity would step onto the galactic stage not as newcomers to be exploited, but as protectors with the power to change the rules of engagement." On view screens throughout the chamber, images appeared of other hidden human outposts, monitoring stations disguised as asteroids, defense platforms cloaked within nebulae, and diplomatic observers embedded within alien societies. Earth's reach extended far beyond what even the Alarians had discovered. "The age of silence is over," Harrington declared. "The age of guardianship begins." As the Alarian fleet disappeared into faster-than-light travel, carrying news that would shake the foundations of the collective's expansionist ideology, Earth's hidden network continued its vigilant watch. For centuries, humans had prepared for this confrontation, developing technologies in secret while appearing primitive and vulnerable. The galaxy had underestimated Earth, and in doing so had awakened not just a defender, but a force that would reshape the very nature of interstellar relations. The Silent Sentinels had revealed themselves at last, and nothing would ever be the same.